Yeah, I'm home alone for one of the rare occasions, so I decided to do a stream. I'm gonna try to upload something as I'm doing this because I think like 2 or 3 videos that I recorded, and I figured why should they not see the light of day, even if they don't get that many views, you know? Let me be charitable and offer some extra content. No, every time there's a stream, it seems like, especially usually what happens is something will occur that's out of my control and it's like very loud. Then you try to stop it, and then it's like all over the place. I hate that so much. They have this guy outside blowing, the leaves, and it's just a very, very loud noise. I was really hoping that Catholic bishop video would get more views because I was pretty enraged at what I saw. You're going to tell somebody who's part of your church that because they have one view that's not in line with yours, you're going to strike out against them. It's why a lot of people do compare religious groups to cults, because some of them have this, and it's not really the members individually a lot of times, because I know other Catholics who have similar views to Biden on that topic, including myself. But a lot of the people at the top that are in leadership, they have this weird grandstanding effect. And it's funny because I tried to make this point during the video. You would think that someone going to church regularly, speaking very highly of their religion, would be considered like a good thing or great thing, because a lot of people who are part of various religions don't actively do events or things relating to it. So I guess this is like further proof that even if you do the things that are wanted by the church, if you have one view that's not in line with theirs, it doesn't matter. That really is sad. Yeah, the next romance video should be out. I don't know if it'll be this weekend because my brother's coming over and we usually do stuff together. So I'm not going to probably be around my computer as much. There's a part of the video that I'm trying to get some clips for, because this woman says this word that I'm so sick of hearing. In fact, in the video, I say it's my third least favorite word of all time behind the I word and the N word. So I'll probably end up trying to grab some clips and cut them out to put in there, because it's just like to show how the sector of YouTube that she hangs out on, a lot of the people that are in leadership positions or have like big channels or whatever, they always use that same word to describe someone they don't like that gets paid online. So we'll see what happens. I actually did eat a banana yesterday. Sometimes they're at the market and I'll just, get like 6 or 7 of them and then eat one each day of the week with whatever lunch item I have. I remember this one guy, he was like, I don't understand why you do the political stuff if it doesn't get that many views. I'm like, well, I wouldn't understand why I did the romance stuff if it didn't get that many views. Because compared to like some of these other people on here, especially that same person that gets mentioned every damn time I do a stream on that topic now, uh, you know, like even if that stuff gets more views for me, it still is much less than a lot of these other people get. So like you can pretty much play the view game with any video you make. I'm only going to do this if it gets 100,000 views. I don't know. Just with me, views and subscribers, all that stuff is cool on paper, but it just seems like a lot of these people will show up like when they subscribe, right? And I've seen this. I know one guy, he has 3,000 subs and he gets maybe, I kid you not, only reason I don't show proof is because I don't want to like come off as insulting him because I think his content is good. Um, 3,000 subscribers, he gets maybe 5, 6, 7 views a video. Like even I'm doing better than him and I have less subscribers than him. But even that 10, 20 that I get on the political stuff most of the time is still better than him. A lot of times he can't even break 2 digits. Let me see. Is he close to 4,000? I go to my subscriptions. Stuff like that really is sad because he's one of those people that you can tell puts effort into their stuff and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I feel like I'm like a kindred spirit with that person. I would give him some free advertising because he has assisted me with some stuff in the past. But for me to do that, I would have to. He's bigger than me, so that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna have larger people get like siphon off of smaller ones. Where's this channel? Oh, I see the young turds. They're man. I was getting ready to talk about them this week, man. After some of the stuff they did. Because I really didn't appreciate Anna and her little nonsense she tried to pull on Jimmy. And I mean, with me, I kind of believe in this idea that if you don't report something for a long time and then you get upset with that person and you bring it up years later, it's really ridiculous. So the idea that you would work with someone who supposedly made you feel uncomfortable, but it took you 5, 6, 7 years to say something, that's stuff like that. I don't understand. But there's a lot of weird things that occur on here. Oh yeah, by the way, there's this one episode. I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles recently, the '80s series. There's this one episode where Raphael gets, I guess, a love interest, and at the end of the episode, she stays in the sewers with the turtles, and like it looks as if she's going to be one of their like new recurring allies. And apparently, after that, she never shows up again. About 6 years ago, there was this guy that did a video about some like ridiculous people from, I think it was Wisconsin, and they came on his video. Some of them who knew the person he was talking about, and then this subscriber of his came in the comment section to like speak disparagingly of the different men and chicks that had said stuff about this guy. And like the guy that did the video initially made another video like laughing at all the comments that his subscriber made defending him and like insulting these people, and I did think it was funny as well. So I subscribed to that subscriber with the indication I would see that person probably on some of his other videos or something, and literally never saw him again. So you see how those two things parallel each other. There's this episode of this cartoon where at the end of it, it looks like there's going to be some new major recurring character, and then she never shows up again. And at the end of this video, it looks like this guy's going to be one of his big top subs that you see in the comment section or possibly in a video with him. Because he mentions wanting to do a video with him, and then you never see him again. Man, that stuff isn't even surprising anymore because it just like keeps happening where somebody is like built up to be this important figure, or it looks as if it's going to be that way, and then oh no, got you. So you can get me. I saw that coming a mile away because it's very predictable. Not a surprise. It's not a big shock. it's just so nice to not have to worry about you're too loud, for once. I'm not even really that animated myself because I didn't have this planned or anything. It just happens. I tell you, it's always ironic when when the people who are literally the loudest will tell somebody else they're too loud. That's why when I was in 11th grade, I had this joke where, so one day this teacher was playing, I think, some music that this kid in my class didn't like, or this girl in my class liked. She said, I'd rather sit in silence. Like as she was arguing back and forth, and she wasn't yelling or anything, but her voice kind of it was like normal room volume, but nobody else was saying anything, so it was kind of like loud automatically. So the joke I had was that for this I think it was my math class, we would get in there before the teacher would, and we'd all just sit down in our seats and whatnot. People, something like this one or two students would always be talking to each other, and I would go, excuse me, I'd rather sit in silence. And then, the student would say something like trying to respond to what I said. And then my voice would get higher. I'd rather sit in silence. And then he would say something like, I'd rather sit in silence. And the joke is that this person who's saying they want to sit in silence is getting louder each time they say that. So they're actively creating the scenario they didn't want by like responding to you because they're making themselves louder with each time they say that. Oh my god. No, I always remembered that because I just like the way that was phrased. I'd rather sit in silence. I was like, I have to use that somewhere else. Some of the students were I don't know, a lot of times they would just say something I thought was funny, and then you would like, oh yeah, I remember when this person said that. Oh, banana, I'm gonna end up stealing that phrase you have about, how like the dumbest person will say something, like somebody online will write something and they'll think it was like so profound. Remember that? I'm gonna end up using that more and more. Because if you go to a lot of these comment sections and you read some of the stuff people write, there's this demeanor in which it's written to where you think the person's like, I really showed him. No, just like with the guy turns heel video. That really disturbed me, that part where he was like, he's no this person or that person, because I couldn't imagine talking to someone for that long, for like a long enough time to where you would think the person likes speaking to this other person who talked to someone they don't like for a year on the internet. But it's like, I guess for people to understand why that was as disturbing to me is maybe if I said, like, just play out the scenario. I'm going to talk to Banana Merchant for a year. And then he's going to unfriend me after I ignore him for a week. But then I'm going to say that I don't know that he just unfriended me for no reason because that makes sense. Uh, and then after he's unfriended me and like tries to send me a friend request to like reconcile whatever, I'm going to ignore him. So I'm going to first get upset that he unfriends me, then like refuse to be friended back because that sounds like something a person who wanted to talk to someone would do. And then I'm going to say, oh yeah, he's not the worst either. He's no Bundy. He's no Dahmer. And you're like, what the hell? This is someone you spoke to for a year, and the best thing you can say about them is they're not as bad as the worst people on this site. Really? And he didn't actually say like those different killers or anything, but just an example of you would think if you speak to someone for a prolonged amount of time, you would have a higher praise to make of them than to say they're not as bad as the literal worst people imaginable. No, for that video on that woman, I was going to mention in the video that we spoke on three different, because the video's like its subtitle. I'm thinking it's probably going to be the Thought Trilogy, and the reason for that is because this person I spoke to, we talked on in three different occasions. First time was for about a month. The second time was about a month, and the third time was like 2 weeks. And the excuse she made for cutting it off, because what ended up happening is she would ignore me, and I would say this is stupid, and I would unfriend her, and then I would send her another friend request at some later point, and she would accept it, and then the cycle would repeat itself over and over. But the excuse she made for doing that the first time was because she was trying to spare my feelings of not being reciprocated, whatever. And then the second time, she also, while explaining herself during the third interaction, said, I was trying to spare your feelings from not being hurt by someone that was not interested in you. And I told this clown during the third instance where we spoke that I don't want you. Like, I'm not interested anymore. Act too mentally ill for my taste. So you get how that excuse no longer worked, but like she still did the same thing of ignoring someone, except now instead of using the excuse of, oh, I'm trying to spare someone's feelings, it's just being a prick. You see how that excuse didn't work out that last time? No, I got this one screenshot from Triple L. I'll save that. If we have more people show up to the stream, I'll mention what it was. I mean, some of the stuff they write, and like people get mad when I say I don't want to talk to chicks anymore, but this is the reason why. All they do is waste your time and then pretend to like you, and then uh, you're expected to just keep putting up with this until the end of time, and then you're like made to be the villain if it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to. You probably did this. You probably did that. I'm like, man, to hell with it. That's why I did the video, the streams, the most blamed man of all time. Because again, a lot of that stuff just comes from people not wanting to criticize chicks ever. Like the whole reason I even hate the I word is because that's people's way of coping with a bunch of men criticizing chicks. They have to like say they're all part of some woman hating group that supports violence and all this other weird stuff. Because like I said, there are chicks online. If I wanted to, I could show you screenshot after screenshot talking about men are this, men are that. And again, nobody goes and tells them they're part of a team they never signed up for. But see how those double standards keep reigning supreme, and like how people just refuse to acknowledge them. It just seems like there's a lot of demonization that comes with just this topic, And it's unfortunate too, because the whole point of making content like that was to start a dialogue about something I didn't think people were talking about. And then it's just let's talk about the way this person looks and what they're wearing and all this other crap that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Or let's play the game of Instafix. Oh, you probably did this, you probably did that, you probably did this, you probably did that, It would be interesting to like make a video that just kind of like is a chronological, and I guess to an extent that was already done with the proof, what was it, Proof Romance the Scam video, where I just sat there and like showed 20 different chicks, just wasting my time over and over. But like a whole video that just shows all the different stuff they'll say to gas you up. Like, oh, you mean so much to me. Oh, we have a connection. Oh, all that's trash. Still can't go over the broad that had a boyfriend that it took her a month to mention. That even while having a boyfriend asked me for a picture of me. That could be another video by itself. This like weird erotic subtext of like talking to chicks online, like where it's like supposed to just be a discussion about. Again, that was about movies, and I've got somebody asking me for a picture of myself. It's really weird. Gotta love the Instafix complex, and oversimplification really is a joke. Yeah, they love doing that. Well, I decided to just because I was home alone, and it's too rare of an opportunity to, I guess, pass up. Um, in the next romance video, I have a screenshot from Triple L where she's like, what was that stupid thing she wrote? I went back in screenshots, so I have to do a whole bunch of scrolling. Well, it seemed like a reasonable point to make, as pretty much every time someone wants to foster a friendship, it is either romantic or professional, and 99% the former. Well, you also barely know what it's like to be a woman if you think that's a crazy hypothesis. So she tried to say that 99% of the time, if someone tries to become friends with you, which I didn't try to, I was just talking about the news, just an acquaintance, it is attempt at being romantic. And it's like people really don't think chicks have egos the size of Mount Rushmore, like imagine if I came on here and said, if a woman tries to talk to me online, 99% of the time she's trying to get with me. I'd get laughed at. I would get mocked. No, let me go back to that part because this in the video, this is what I say. Let me go to it. Where she said, well, you also barely know what it's like to be a woman if you think that's a crazy hypothesis. Oh, poor woman getting accepted everywhere she goes for just being whatever condition she's in. Someone mail me a box of tissues. Dude, like both her and the one that is like the main villain of that new video that's coming out, they both did the thing of, oh, men approach me everywhere I go. Every time I'm online, men are saying something to me. And I'm like, I never said this to her. I was like, I didn't even know who the one in the video, right? The only reason I know who she is because she came to my stuff. But see, that's why I say I don't feel sympathetic to them, because they put themselves in these situations by being on social media, especially like, Instagram and all these other sites, where men come to them. Like if they weren't on these websites, none of these men would even know who they are. They're not famous. Man, I've just gotten out of a breakup. Men and the other chick were talking the third. Then 2 weeks later, she dumped me. And on the 16th of June, saying her boyfriend wanted him back. Then she blocks me. Yeah, that's how they usually do it. They have like a cavalcade of guys that they just flip between. Yeah, that's true. And they don't need to respond to them either. We all know how easy it is for them to block someone if they want. Yeah, but like, how to explain it? When my mother was on Instagram, she had her account private because she only wanted to be followed by people that she knew in real life. Same thing with my dad. So these websites give you a lot of leeway to ignore or otherwise get rid of people you don't want to speak to you or trying to talk to you. That's why I'm not sympathetic. And it's like no one makes you, like, who the hell's ever worked somewhere and they're like, as part of your job requirement, you must sign up to Instagram and post 200 pictures of yourself right now, They do it to themselves. I'll talk about how annoying it is to have men approach you. It's like, dingbat, I didn't know who you were. Like, you put yourself in this situation. Yeah, they play. Imagine like what I would look like. Somebody help me. All these women are trying to talk to me. I don't want to talk to them. Again, I would get laughed at. Chicks can turn any scenario into like just the victimhood complex. Somebody could throw a sack of money at them and be like, oh, they're trying to enrich me. Man, I can't believe somebody would be mad or like complaining that they're getting attention. But see, that's why like there's a big part of me that doesn't really care what they have to say on this topic because most of those chicks have never known what it's like to get rejected over and over again or be led on for weeks or months with somebody that's not actually interested, just wasting your time. They don't know what that stuff's like. Just like with that dingbat with the baby. Um, Literally first boyfriend, right? That she ever has, ask her on a date. She says yes, pays for a storage unit, stays there after she is suspected of cheating on him. Probably did. I mentioned I saw this in person. Um, just like they're able to get anything they want out of men. Whether that's attention, whether that's like utilities, like it sure would be nice to have a broad pay for my bills, but that would never happen. It always has to be the man that pays for everything. Even though we live in the supposed more equal era, you're supposed to feel sorry for someone who has all the options, unlike yourself, that barely has any to no options. Yeah, they're the true victims of this. Right. That's why I don't waste my time or energy and gas on women. I just don't think they're worth doing all this stuff for. Like I'm very serious when I say that if I find out one of them is talking to multiple other men, I stop speaking to them. It's like, what's the point? They're used to getting free attention without going through hoops. It's not even just attention. They can make men do all kind of crazy, like, for example, with the thing about with the baby, that's a person who dates this guy for 2 years. They both are like, kind of not well off financially, whatever. Uh, and I don't say that to speak ill of someone, but it's like, because a lot of people say this person doesn't have a girlfriend because they don't have a job. She literally quits her job. And then not only does he stay with her, which I don't think not having a job should mean you shouldn't be able to find something, because there are a lot of people that are not, especially in the COVID era. But the point is that he stays with her after she quits her job. There's no income anymore, and continues paying for her to keep her stuff inside of the storage unit that she had. So he accepts her even when she enters a objectively worse condition, and still tries to accommodate her circumstance. So you would never get that out of abroad ever. Hey Brandon, do you think if you got kicked out of your house for flapping your gums to your landlord, that you would meet some woman who cares so much about you that she'll pay for you to keep your stuff in a storage unit for a year while you cheat on her and curse her out over the phone? You do know that same circumstance would never happen if you were a guy. Yeah. And you don't even have to do that other stuff, right? Like, nope, imagine. Absolutely no way. But that's why I said that when people are like, what can you do for a woman? They never present the question of what can a woman do for you? This guy lost all this money over her running her mouth to somebody else. So because he was in a relationship with her and was like trying to accommodate her, he ended up getting punished financially. Women have used belonging by different men every time when they have to move. Have used belonging by different men. I think that might be a little grammatically off. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. But don't you think that's sad that like people will sit here and they talk about, oh, women are are becoming equal to men, and they're owning as much, and they're going to school more, and all. It's like, but then why does every time I see a relationship, especially between people that are under 40, it's always the man paying for the woman? You know, like, isn't that weird? In the supposed equality era of the current times, you have the man always having to pull out his wallet to help some broad. So the only person I'll ever get to mooch off of me is my brother. But like they really expect you to turn into like the piggy bank for a bunch of broads that you don't even like barely know. You know, I was watching this one video, and it's like some interview that this guy and this chick did, and they're doing some kind of thing together, and the guy's like, what if an I word talks to a female? And I was like really like just amused by this assertion of his, because I guess with these people, they really think that men who are critical of chicks just like wake up one day and they just get online and start typing about them. They don't have any like bad experiences with them, just over and over again. Men who don't approach women are scared of getting rejected. It's like, hell, I'm scared of that. I'm tired, more like it, of having my time wasted. You better approach this woman and approach that woman and approach this woman. Hmm. It really does seem like a never-ending cycle. I don't think you can find any videos about what a woman can do for you or how she can appeal to a guy. Yeah, because they're not asked to. And like I said, when you tell somebody to do a bunch of work for very little to nothing from the woman, it kind of just goes back to this whole point. Like, I don't even believe in those different groups, but the whole thing of like men looking at romances with chicks and saying that this does not benefit me in any way, it has a lot of legitimacy, because you're asked to do all of these different steps and acts and requirements to get some woman to maybe go on a date with you or whatever. Uh, and then every time we play out these scenarios of what an actual relationship would look like, it's you paying for the broad. Everything is designed around her benefiting, and you just being this like piggy bank slash friend with benefits, stupid. You know what I'm talking? And like, I guess just as an example, right? A lot of people, when they say that men who can't get a woman just want to get screwed, it's like, you guys must really think chicks are nuns if you if you don't want to believe that they want to get like screwed as well. Because if they didn't, you wouldn't see them having boyfriends. If they're like, unless you believe they're all just holding hands together at their house all night. You get like why that's stupid. Like they turned sexuality, right? Because that's what screwing is. It's part of sexuality, into like a weapon against men. Like, you're a shallow bastard who just wants a woman for her body. Like, oh yeah, the chicks aren't shallow. That's totally why there are no chicks on dating websites, right? Just that most of those videos, chicks usually talk about cooking, cleaning, and feminine energy, basically doing the bare minimum. Yeah, but like, just think about this, okay? You're gonna go to the gym for months, possibly years, depending on how much of this stuff these people say believe, so that you can sit across from a restaurant with a broad for an hour, who can always say after this date, I don't want to do anymore. Um, or who is going to basically be a maid at your house. Like, you see how it goes back to that whole thing of how Like I wouldn't go if I want a maid, someone to just clean my house. I would just hire somebody to clean my house. I'm not gonna do all this extra stuff, you know, for the sake of maybe getting someone to do that. Well, yeah, while other guys talking about they're having a baby on the way or getting married, there's a lot of men still have to suffer coping, asking why they haven't. But again, that's not what I'm talking about. It's the fact that these people sit here and they try to make basic just stuff that a man would do with a woman seem bad, or try to like use it as the impetus for why a man can't get with one. Like for the sake of justifying this stupid stuff happening over and over again. Or chicks talk about having a job and a college education. They don't have any qualities that benefit the man. Man, guys, just having a job is not some amazing, great thing. I don't know why people get that in their heads. And like I said, that broad didn't have one for months, and that man never said anything about leaving her. I can cook, clean, take care of myself. I don't know what a chick can do for me. And again, it's like I wouldn't even say something like that because if I like the person, whatever, but there was just like this really weird push to like make you small, like make you seem like you have all these problems, like you have to work on yourself and be able to provide. And you're like, all this stuff just to get a date? Like, damn. Oh, by the way, let me read what Megumi wrote. Yes, well said, dude. They use this to justify this nonsense that keeps happening to so many guys. Apparently, all guys that have this problem just want to get in bed with the chick. Yeah, and like I said, they act like chicks are nuns. They don't. They don't enjoy, getting banged. Like if they didn't, you wouldn't see them still be with men and get married. Or, well, they're not even really getting married that much anymore. But like, you wouldn't see them have boyfriends if they didn't care about romantic stuff. Oh no. I hope that isn't who I think it is. Let me go see. Purple icon with no avatar. What was the last video? I really hope that's not him. Because he's supposed to be fed up with me. He wrote a whole 20, what was it, 3 paragraphs? Oh, it is. Oh no. I understand if you like the chick a lot, then you're cool. Just then, I don't want to have to do all this work to get nothing out of it. Well, that's why I said that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Being told to jump through all of these different hoops for something that people can't guarantee just isn't worth it. I come in peace. My favorite part of that, like those several paragraphs where you wrote, "We're being asked to leave." Like, yeah, I'm doing that as a courtesy to you. I could just block you. Only reason I don't do that is because you like to come back and say he bans freedom of speech. I'm being censored. I can't talk about him on anybody else's channel out of the millions that are here. Pretty much, it really isn't worth it, especially if it doesn't guarantee you anything. A lot of women demand so much but have little to offer, in my opinion. Yeah. I kid you not, you could take all those chicks I spoke to, and some of them live in the same state as me, and you won't find one single goddamn utility, a single one ever offered to me. And you might ask yourself, what do I mean by that? Well, just like they would never pay for anything. They would never assist you with anything because there's like other stuff like, hey, how do you do this? No, just nothing. Because some of them would ask me what happened here, what was the, like just information, for example. They can't do anything. Certainly not to benefit you. I can't stand it when men fight over a woman then get killed. Yeah, they love playing that. Well, that's what goes back to the whole thing of like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. What is so special about this one broad who no one's ever heard of that requires her to have multiple men engaging in combat. Dude, this is like a gender bent version of Rama One Half, where the woman is Rama and she's got like 4 fiancés and they're all competing to get her. Their triangles, what they have to offer. Hey, Megumi, you ever heard of that show? Damn, the fiancés for that show barely even actually fought each other or anything, but it was just, that's what stuff's starting to remind me of. And I really do want to do that women's many options video where like talking about all the different ones that have mentioned having this number of men trying to message them at once, because stuff like that really does shatter a lot of people's platitudes. Like, oh, you'll meet a woman one day and she'll agree to go on a date and you'll live happily ever after, except when she talks to 15 other men before any of that happens. A Japanese reverse gender harem. Yeah, where it was well, no, the show is this guy that can turn into a girl if he's hit by cold water, and he has different fiancés. It's made by the same person made Inuyasha. Or Inuyasha, however you pronounce it. Oh, it is a reverse gender harem all around, yeah. Having all these men, and again, it's like in the video, I even give examples. Like if it's a woman or an actress who's appeared in a bunch of stuff, I have no complaints. That's someone who's accomplished a bunch, world known, whatever. But it's like these are chicks nobody ever heard of. I could literally say the name of each one of those broads I spoke to. You would have never heard of them. But for some reason, I'm being told about all this stuff you have to do to appeal to them specifically. Your avatar changed. That's really weird. Have you tried church to meet women? I haven't been inside of a church in, I think, 3 years. But I mean, it's kind of like the same thing where it's like, I'm going to go in this church, and then as they're doing this blessings and whatnot, go outside and ask this woman on the date. It's kind of like there was this one time I went to a funeral and there was this attractive woman sitting in front of me, and then I was sitting next to my grandparents, and my grandma was like, you know, if it were somewhere else, I would understand if you want to say something to her, but this is a funeral. And I was like, yeah, that's why it's weird. Like, what am I supposed to do in that scenario? How did you meet this person that you want to date with? Oh, at this funeral. Somebody died, and then I just decided to go up and say hello. Hey, today, the final chapter. Tomorrow, a new beginning. No, I mean, there's just some places you can't do that stuff at, like. That's why I said this is like a nuanced topic that people should actually think about before they just like rattle something off. But instead, it's just people throwing stuff at the wall with darts and hoping something sticks. As would what James would say, you must be new here. No, we've seen him before on like 3 or 4 different occasions. I lost count. You could take him and Tony, and they're just 2 peas in the pod. They write something nasty, and then you're like, what? You're like, all right, then don't watch me anymore. And then they come back still. So he's anything but new. He's not that fresh. He's like, what's that one character from Pokemon? You remember Paul from the Diamond and Pearl seasons, where it's like, oh, he's a new trainer starting out in Sinnoh, and then you find out he went to all the other regions that were introduced in the games before, doing Sinnoh. So it's like, oh, he looks new, but he actually isn't. He's been around the block for a while. When relationships are over, the chapter done, the book ends. I mean, I guess. Somebody's coming. I can't be as loud anymore. That sucks. Wait, what in the world? They come and then they run. Oh, okay, never mind. It was false alarm. Well, I don't know anybody that agrees with everything I say, but that's the point that like people come on here and they try to accuse me of only having monolithic thought, and then there are multiple streams. There are disagreements with people in the chat that don't get banned for disagreeing. Like James, for example, is one of my mods, and he doesn't agree with the idea of paying for a date with a hooker in place of like just spent like wasting your time talking to some broad that doesn't even like you for weeks or months. Like to where he's objected to it multiple times, and I'm like, whatever. I don't tell him what to do. He doesn't tell me what to do. At least you're managing to seize this opportunity of having yeah, for like the second time this year. No, that Gertz person is just really irritating. Every time he writes a comment, I just feel my hand like creeping closer to that block button. Every time I see something he writes, my hand is just gets closer and closer to the dark side. And it's like, just let me see if I can find some examples of it, because he does it on streams where he shows up and writes something weird, and then it's like, oh, that's supposed to be intelligent. True, though, long-term use of hookers loses its novelty after a while. I think dating coaches can be useful for people in this regard to improve conversations with women, etc. I'm just sitting there to myself, it's like, you're on the channel of a guy who talks about having chicks that'll speak to you for weeks or months, up until you ask on a date, and then they run away and it's too much, and oh my god, I only like you as a friend. So theoretically, a person that can talk to them for that long without them wanting to run away doesn't have a problem speaking to chicks, just in general. Hookers lose novelty after a while. So does talking to a bunch of broads that waste your time. That loses novelty after a while. Like, really, I've been sick of chicks since like 2015, 2016, whichever year it was that I went on like Reddit and just was like messaging them every day on there. Getting like your time wasted and being rejected has lost its novelty for me. I've had my fill. Haha, I recognize those comments. Yeah, and like they're weird too, because he's responding to like a whole video with true, but it's like what's true? You don't leave a timestamp. What is correct? He's got one more time to do that, and then that's it. Seems I summoned you. Now, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! It's time to do. Let me see where. I see Brandon went to sleep. He went back to bed. Took his afternoon nap. I'm still here. Well, I didn't know, because I don't have a what do you call it? One of those things. This isn't like Discord where they show you who's online and who isn't. He even posted a comment on one video about this one dating coach, and a couple of days later it was deleted. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that person. And it's like a lot of those guys do think that because they go around the internet looking for every single person that talks about chicks, they think, like you do the same thing just because you make content about it. What do you think of this person? What do you think of this? I was like, who the hell is that? No, they'll drive you crazy with that stuff. They're trying to make a romance cinematic universe where that one guy with the glasses is the main character, with the, one wears their suits during the streams, and they have to bring him up everywhere. And then you have these recurring villains, and then you have like continuity, like this person said this during this stream 2 months ago. I'd say the funniest thing would be if men actually just started approaching like every single broad everywhere. Like if everybody followed their advice and everybody had passports and they were traveling all over the world to just get a date. And then this chick is like, oh, you spoke to that guy? I spoke to him 3 years ago. And it actually does start turning into this thing where can you legitimately get rejected by every single broad on the planet? Oh my God. I mean, I believe that because they're weird like that. Oh, I think you're handsome and you're smart, but I just don't like you that way. That's been overdone. Hey, what did Gerd say? It's lost its novelty after a while. I can certainly imagine that happening. Where you travel across the land. No, around the world, like you get rejected by every broad in the U.S., then you get rejected by every broad in Canada, then you get rejected by every broad in the U.K., you get rejected by every broad in South Korea, then North Korea, then Japan, then Iran, then Israel, then Afghanistan, then Syria, then Somalia, then Pakistan, then Iraq, then Yemen. Oh my God. I could really picture someone, got to go to the next country. Let's see if I can get a date over here. And imagine he goes to North Korea and the woman's like, I'd rather live under a dictator's regime than go on a date with you. You'd be like, damn. Just traveling across the world, like just on this little boat. Oh my God. No, I don't know what's up with those pills either. I don't like I said, imagine getting rejected by chicks and then you make content about it after like 5 years, I guess. And now people are talking about, because again, before I came on, I didn't know what these pills were or the I word. Like it's always funny that like these other people are introducing me to this different stuff. I'm like, I just wanted to date. I'm not trying to be part of anyone's team. They really consider this a vice, so let's not pretend that traveling actually. Well, see, that goes back to the impracticality of this stuff. Like, it would be really cute to say, "Oh, let's all become millionaires and let's all travel around the world," but not everyone has the same opportunity as someone else. That's why it shouldn't be that difficult. And really, like, think of how screwed up that is. Like my state by itself, right? 40 million people, and you're going to tell me I need to go online and go to this country to maybe meet someone that might go on a date. You don't see where that's like, huh? Really? Oh no, you're supposed to just go to these countries and everybody speaks English. By the way, I have tried talking to some chicks that English isn't their first language. They sound terrible. Like the stuff they write looks like something my little brother wrote when he was like 2 or 3. It's awful. I understand what you're saying. No, don't get what that is. It's like, Jesus Christ. When your relationship with a woman is getting bad, the chapter, okay, I'll go write that novel. I don't know where you're going with this book metaphor. People don't even read books anyway. Like we can't even get people to read comic books, and like it's so I'm not even gonna bother making any book analogy. No, they people like the romance advice is built on impracticality. Like just go to the gym every day, sign up for every single goddamn dating website that has ever been made, talk to 5 chicks a day, approach 5 chicks a day, whatever that stupid other line was. Get a passport, travel here, travel there, travel here. Like, who has the time to do all this stuff? Like imagine as you're traveling to this one country to meet these magic bras, they're all gonna like you. You're also typing on this dating website to this person who's got 50 other men she's speaking to, or 15, or whatever number you want to throw out. You know, it's like who. That's why I said that this stuff really does feel like a cartoon. Like, just it's a comic book where people have superpowers. You have dating superpowers. You can go to this. You go on this website that costs $19.99 a month, and then at the same time you're flying across the world for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Like, who? Just to get a date. Improve your game, yeah. Even though we've never seen you talk to a single chick, we know that your game needs to be improved. Oversimplification at its finest. Oversimplification and practicality, all those things like just work together. I saw this one guy I'm not going to say his name, but he's been getting a lot more subscribers recently. He made a video giving advice on how to get a girlfriend. And he has another video where he was trying to because I did the video on like losing virginity to a prostitute. And I was talking about how you really can't tell a man to like keep waiting and waiting and waiting if he's going to get made fun of over not having screwed before. And the guy was like, you should wait until you find someone. And I was in like the whole comment section, people going, yeah, man, I agree. Wait. It's like, they all believe in that magic broad so much. Oh, but he has this other video where they kill me with this stuff. He's like, you need to do shadow work so that you can find a woman can find you appealing. And like in the same video as he's talking about becoming the superior you or whatever the hell, he openly admits to knowing guys in high school didn't have jobs who weren't, I would hope, the best version of themselves ever, that still had got dates. So it's like your own video contradicts itself, like. So I said, you listen to these people, you'll drive yourself insane. Like, really, just the whole chick topic will drive people nuts. For the dating coaches, they already know that's why they are profiting off of guys and purchasing this stuff. I can't wait for Megumi to do some shadow work. There's never been a man who didn't go to the gym that got a date before. Dude, I told you about that one guy. His mugshot like blew up online after he got arrested, and I think it was 2013. And now he's doing like modeling, and he's engaged to marry some Harris or something. And it was like, a guy like that was only sought out by chicks because they thought he was physically attractive. He didn't have $1 in his pocket, sitting up in jail. And you're gonna sit here talking about all the money you need to have to be. It's like, this is dumb, man. All you have to do is listen to their rhetoric. Some of their advice can easily, because they're not like, no one is thinking. They're just saying random stuff and hoping it sticks. That's why when you do a video on this, like with BVS, he always would hide his face because, like, who wants to do a video and where you think about what you're saying, you're trying to articulate the issues you have with chicks, and then somebody responds with going, "You're ugly. You're probably gonna show up at school." You're like, who the hell wants to do that? Who does that help? Of what aid is that to you or I? I don't do that stuff to anybody on here. That's why like it just seems so weird. I'm going to talk about the way another man looks because that's totally what a straight guy would do. Nobody can argue against these points being made. Yeah, because again, like most of the people that comment on this don't even use their brains. They just say things and hope it sticks. Like I said, it's really not hard to defeat them. You just have to just think about it a little bit and you're like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. And the only reason usually I don't bother talking to like relatives about this stuff is because a lot of them don't understand what it's like to just keep having this happen over and over again. Um, so what ends up happening is when you're talking to them about this, they a lot of times will like not listen to what you're saying, and then they want you to hear them. You know, it's just sad that like in place of arguments, all we have are these like weird analysis of character and the way somebody looks and all. It's really sad. I do like a point you made that you don't like talking about the problem that people who aren't affected by. Well, that's why I can't take the chick seriously when they try to like discuss it because they don't know what it's like. Again, Triple L admitted to having two guys try to get married to her by the time she was 20. So that's not someone who needs to really who is saying anything that's worth listening to. Tell you about that one guy I speak to by email, and he was talking about, oh, you're so young, you shouldn't be. And it's like, sir, don't tell me about the magic woman when you've been married 3 times. I didn't actually say that back, but it's like, they're either their own lives contradict what they're telling you, or it's like further proof they don't know what it's like to be in your circumstance. Hate to say it, but some old people from past generations don't understand the modern era of social media. Well, that's why I said that it's different in all the wrong ways. Like just a random broad can get online and have a bunch of men try to talk to her. Again, that's why I'm not on any of those websites trying to because it's like, what's the point? You're competing with like 30 other men. And even if it's not 30, it's still like they like what have they done that remotely requires them to have all these damn love interests? Like some of these chicks have more love interest than Batman. At least he goes around saving people. Dude, that's why I said it feels like a comic book where like all the chicks are like these anointed superheroes, and they have like loads and loads of new love interests that the writers are introducing, and then like you're like the only character that's like that breaks the fourth wall in the self where it's like to hell with this. I'm about to be part of her harem. That'd be a good talk for video. The romance comic book. All these plot twists and retcons and reboots and recurring villain and story arcs. Social media wasn't really around back then as it is now and are more likely to have a lot of partners due to the options. I mean, it's not even just the partners. Like they get when you have all those options, you might not date all of them or date most of them, but you still like they get off on having all these people that will talk to them. And like I said, it's hard to get a woman's attention when you're competing with 5, 10, 15 other men for one broad. But see, that's something that people don't like to discuss because it hurts the narrative of, oh, if you just keep trying, one of them will eventually like you. It's like, yeah, she'll say she likes you and then she goes to date somebody else who she was talking to while she spoke to you. That has happened so many times where they just sit there and talk about how important you are to them and then throw you in the trash. All I have to say is get a car and woman will fall. Oh my God, here we go. So how does talking to a broad on the computer and then having a car, like what is that, how does that make her fall in love with you? Like you see it, you don't see how that like doesn't just in that scenario, I don't really see how it makes a difference. It's kind of like when people would say, oh, you're ugly, but then if you go on a website like Reddit where no one sees what you look like unless you send them a picture, which didn't happen most of the time. It's like, so appearance wasn't really as big a factor as these people led themselves to believe. Yeah, James has a car and now he's rolling in women. They're all interested in him magically now, and they all definitely care about his personality and him as a person. But there are guys who don't have anything and still, that's my point. I told you that guy that was sitting up in jail didn't have $1 in his pocket. And he had all these broads on social media going, and like I said, if you imagine to go on a date, you need to go spend how much money does a car cost? Thousands of dollars usually. I know there are some you can get for like 500, 600. But you get the idea. It's like you have to go and buy, and now you have, so like buy a car and you'll get a date. Totally doesn't sound unnecessary or excessive or ridiculous. I guess this is just something you should do. No, don't listen to any of the advice people give on here. It's too goofy. Hey, let me read one of the dumbest comments ever written on my stuff. This Knighton person says, "Girls," and this was written, I should say, in 2018, and you'll see why that's relevant. Girls at your age mostly go for guys who are older and richer. It's really rare to get a girl at the same age. You have go for younger girls, like subtract 5 years from your age. Now you want to know why that was a really stupid, almost brain rotting comment to write to me personally at the time where it was written. That year I was 20. If you subtracted 5 from my age, this man is telling me to go after children. So commit an illegal act to maybe get a woman to, I guess, like you or whatever the hell. You don't see why that's like that. That just shows they don't bother asking anything. They just say random stupid stuff, and then they're like surprised when nobody listens to them. To get a date, you have to become a child predator. You don't see why that's wrong or screwed up. Like what the hell? Yeah, that's a silly bastard. I wouldn't have him. Man, forget writing a comment in my comment section. I wouldn't have him running a cat house. Because remember, these people can ask, "How old are you?" and then you could tell them. So you're going to tell somebody to get a date, they need to go and become a child predator. it's really rare for a guy to get a woman his age. That's actually not true, by the way. Like they've actually done polls that show that most people that are in relationships are about a year or two from each other. So it's whatever. Who cares about what we actually can prove has occurred? Let's just write whatever. I'm supposed to engage in a legal activity to get a date, according to this person. I don't know. They really do just like throw anything at the wall and hope it sticks. It's really disturbing. And again, they're surprised when no one listens to them. No, they probably use all their brain power to give you a ridiculous solution. But there is no brain power in writing something like that. And because really, you do have like laws like the was it the Romeo and Juliet law, where if like a man is 19, for example, and he does something with a 16-year-old, it still would not be considered illegal because of the like really small age gap relatively that they have, even if one is legally an adult and the other one isn't. But this person is asking you something that, if I had actually done, would be illegal. And this all goes back to this like this like weird oversaturation of just throwing anything out there, like, and just hoping it sticks. They usually go for men who are older and richer. I told you the funniest thing is that I met a lot of bros that are like 30 something and they don't even own anything. Like they're always usually, you can infer poor because they're asking you for money. I thought that was funny. There is no thought invested into their response. Clearly, they didn't think before typing that. Well, like I said, you can ask somebody how old they are before writing some advice that's based around that, and they didn't even do it. They just type something and again hope it sticks. Um, there's something wrong with people. Like I don't think it should be this hard to get a date. I don't think most of the stuff people write about this topic are actually worth reading or checking into. Um, so where do you see women in the future if you don't have a woman in your life? Where do you see yourself in the future if you don't have a woman in your life? Well, that's my point. That like they're not actually changing anything about my future. Like I guess I'll have more money since I won't have to be the gold digger sugar daddy that person was talking about. See, that's the kind of question that infers the idea that like being with a woman's going to do this big, massive, great thing that happens to you. When we already gave examples of how that wasn't the case for a lot of people. They kept saying over and over, "You don't offer any solutions." Like then you offer a solution. You shouldn't have to pay somebody to go. I was like, what else do you? And I don't understand this at all. You get mad that the person doesn't offer solutions, then they offer solutions, it's still not good enough. That actually is like a good analogy or like allegory of how the self improvement stuff works because um, if you do those things they tell you to do, they're just going to keep saying you did something wrong. Like that's why I don't believe in it, because it's just going to be another, like, it's a goalpost for you to reach, and if you reach it, they're just going to keep burying you. Women are not the be all end all of life. Sometimes they can be the very thing holding you back. Yeah, like I talked about the one broad I dated, and now she was like begging me for money every day for a week. It's like I really do shudder to think what would have happened if I actually put up with that and gave her money. What box I'd be sleeping in, like that's why I said, these chicks kind of suck. Like they waste your time, they beg money from you, and then the guys that are like responding to this stuff aren't really that much better. They accuse you of things like you've committed a crime because you're not with the broad. They write all this nasty, disparaging stuff. Like who? Again, relationships are supposed to be enjoyable. Like you're supposed to talk to a chick and actually like that, not go, oh great, I can't wait until she rejects me and I go online and have to hear about I'm a piece of garbage all day long. Focus on yourself, do things to make you happy, whether it be gaming, drawing, hanging out with friends, etc. Well, again, the point I was making is I don't need to be told about how do you think your life will go if a woman is not involved. They're already not involved. Like they already don't do anything other than waste your time. Told you, we just saw, what was it, last month? A broad ask me on a date and then do the 360. Now they love wasting people's time and plot twists and mixed signals. Like I said, nobody has time for that, like. But again, the whole point of the hookers was just if you have any sexual stuff you want fulfilled, just go to Vegas. Like to hell with sitting here and talking to somebody for a month or two or several weeks that isn't going to do anything with you other than flap her gums. Actually, go and get that stuff fulfilled by a broad you can pay. Majority of relationships aren't even relationships at this point. Yeah, I don't know what they are. The excess of time wasting is what they really, really love doing, like seriously. So the next one of them that asks, can we be friends, or I want to be friends, I'm blocking. I'm so sick of hearing that. Because it doesn't make sense for me to be told that I'm like such a piece of garbage and all you have no good qualities and whatever. But then you have chicks trying to ask if they can talk to you forever. I think man's only relationship is a Mary Jane in their hand or a bong and okay, I don't. There we go with those riddles. Hey, I didn't know we were doing a stream version of Batman Forever. Riddle me this: what's in your hand and what can you put in your mouth? It's like what the hell? No, they sit there and they were all kind of crazy stuff. I swear the people on these streams really do seem like they try to copy different comic characters or like certain little stuff they do. Like the one guy that was talking about celebrities tend to have better relationships and you'll be the better you. It's like he really, I thought he was Ultron. Because that's his thing where he's trying to like become the best version ever or something, like keep upgrading himself. I had a joke where I was thinking of like unbanning all the people that have been banned on there just to see which ones try to like reappear. That'd be like a little fun social experiment of like the idea that there's this one person on this website they never seem to forget, where they just won't leave him alone unless he, makes to where they can't say anything to him. No, we need to make his avatar green. He's the new Riddler. Riddle me this. What will 2030 look like without a certain blue shirt wearing person being with an individual with voluptuous chest melons and a triangle in between their legs? That sounds like something they would write. Like it just really confusing. They just don't understand the saying, do unto others as you would want done to yourself, because they would never tell women to jump through all these hoops to get a date. Yeah. And again, it's like doing all that stuff and then being told that women don't owe you anything, but then like you owe the women all this stuff that you're doing. It's another one of those contradictions where like you as a man are not owed anything, but the chicks just they deserve every last thing you can do. You have to become famous for them. You have to become rich for them. Like you're like, what the hell? Oh yeah, women don't owe men anything, but men owe women everything. They need to self-improve forever. That's why I don't believe in that work on yourself thing. That line used to get spammed to me so many times, and then I just started like rolling my eyes over and over. Because like again, you have to do everything because you're their slave. You remember you get crucified, but they're not doing anything. They're all perfect, and they're all perfect in their own way. Yeah, but it goes both ways. You don't owe them anything either, though, right? But one side is like actively encouraged, because there are chicks that are single that people are like, oh man, she has independence. But if you're a man, you're probably gay. You probably don't know how to speak to a woman. You probably don't. What was that stupid thing that Gerds wrote? Do you feel like emotionally connecting with a woman is the key that you have missed? Like what? At the same time, they're trying to push for this equality stuff. Yeah, and like I said, if equality actually existed, you would see guys with 10, 20, 30 different chicks they were talking to at once. And you would see chicks making groups where it's about them getting rejected over and over. It never happens. No, it was funny where they were like, like that guy's video really was like, you need to wait until the right woman comes along for you to. And I was like, dude, people screw in high school and in some cases middle school too, like 8th grade, and they don't even like they're not in love with each other. And you don't tell me to sit here and wait until the end of time for? Are you out of your mind? No one owes anyone anything, but we hold ourselves responsible if we want things out of life. It's called basic etiquette and responsibility. When they'll always say you need to work on yourself, it means that you'll probably die by yourself. I don't even know what that means. Like, the woman's gonna die with me. She's gonna be holding my hand as I die. I really need to go over like married people that died by themselves, like their partner lived on. If women don't owe me anything, keep that same energy for them. They shouldn't expect guys to approach them, pay for them, go out of their way to talk to them. And they want a guy, they should initiate. If they want a guy, they should initiate, rather. I don't know why they're so scared to just say hello to someone or to ask somebody out. I didn't know that was like a really tough. And like I said, you would never like you would never get any credit for asking that many chicks out. They would say, wow, this person was not scared to do that over and over.